Hi everybody, Joy here. I'm actually supposed to have some company tonight for this webinar, but Patricia's having trouble with her camera and Oceana's having trouble with cookies. So I just got a text from Oceana asking if I can see her. Maybe. Let's see if you're in the attendees. View. No, I don't see you. I've got Jerry and Margaret, and I got Roslyn and Catherine. There you are. Oceana, you're live.
I'm here.
Woo! Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Patricia's having trouble with her camera, so she'll be joining us shortly too. So in the meantime, I want to apologize to everybody that tried to get in last week, and we had a power outage. Oceana had a power outage, and we just weren't meant to do a webinar last week, so sorry about that. So tonight we're going to be introducing Oceana, who's our expert blogger out of Edmonton, Alberta, and I'm going to share one of her blogs with you, which is quite emotional and lovely in how she's written it. And then Oceana's going to talk to you about finding your voice through writing. So that'll be fun. And then following Oceana, we're going to show a video by Tom Schimmer, who's an expert speaker and speaks all over the world. And I always want to get in his suitcase because he's always off to like Hawaii or somewhere else that's super exotic and tropical and nice. So I'm going to begin by reading Oceana's story. Are you ready, Oceana, for me to do that?
By all means.
Okay. So, Oceana, well, I forgot to tell you this. When I'm talking, can you just put your microphone on mute until I bring you up?
I actually, oh.
Do you know how to do that? If you don't know how to do it, don't worry, because you're really quiet anyhow. So I'm just going to do screen share, and hopefully this is going to come up properly. There it is. Share. Okay, so there's a picture of beautiful Oceana, who will be up in a moment. Oceana is a blogging coach. She's also a workshop leader, and she's a self-esteem coach, which I'd like to carry around in my pocket. So here's a blog she wrote about her father, and it's delightful. So here we go. My father. As an adult, it is hard to look at my parents and see them as old, tired, and closer to death. I have a hard enough time remembering that I've gotten older, more tired, and am also closer to death. Recently, my father had another health scare, and I was left feeling sad. I no longer saw my father as the same kind of fighter. I saw him as stubborn, and I saw him as frightened, maybe too frightened to die. Memories flooded in. My sneaking out of bed to watch early morning Scooby-Doo and Rawhide on television. I remembered fixing cars with him, gathering up nuts and bolts to help with his repairs. I remembered fishing with him and sitting in his room listening to the song Daddy's Girl after he moved out of our house and my parents divorced. I remembered that as I got older, he let me listen to the devil's music, anything that was not country. When my stepmom was not around, that he helped me look after my son. Devil's music when my stepmom was not around, that he helped me look after my son when I was a young adult and continue to fix my car so it was reliable. Yes, my father loved me, and on a core level, I knew this. However, there had been so much hurt. As I got older, I knew that I had the right and responsibility to tell him how I wanted to be treated. I had the right to not have him hit me in the arm, not slap my ass hard as I walked by. I had the right not to be called names, fat ass and such. I had the right to set boundaries and to be treated with respect. However, this meant I had changed the game on my father, and that might have appeared unfair to him. It might have seemed like I didn't love him, and it might have appeared that I did not want to be around him. However, this past weekend, when I received the news that he was experiencing mini strokes, there was no question that I would stick by his side. Without question, if necessary, I would pick up my siblings and drive to the ends of the earth to make sure I was there to love and support him. The moment I arrived at my father's house, he told me I didn't need to be there. I told him I was not there for him. I was there to support my stepmom. I told him that he knew I loved him and that whatever happened would be what was meant to happen. Regardless, my stepmom needed support. As he coughed and hacked and my mind went into fear that my father is not meant for this earth much longer, I rubbed his back and held on to him, letting him know he was not alone. In those moments, I know he knew that my love for him was true and that regardless of the boundaries I'm setting with him, that I will always love him. In that very moment, I put aside my anger towards him for not taking better care of his health, for making a stupid agreement that he would not live to be older than his parents when they died, an agreement he is not even conscious of making. In that moment, I saw him frightened, and I saw him as old and close to death. When my father went out for a smoke, even with the sounds of angry voices and words of "don't do it," I followed him out and sat on the freezing concrete. It was my way of saying I love you. It was my way of saying I accept you as you are. My father is with this world today as I write this blog. I know on a level he is making a choice as to whether he will fight or if he will let go. I also know that when he chooses to let go, there will be many who are hurt and filled with guilt and anger at his decision. What I really came to understand, sitting on the concrete steps as he choked on his smoke, is that I will not be one of them. I have come to terms with who my father is and know that he loves me, and he knows that I love him for who he is and not for what I think he should be. I will feel the loss of him deep in my heart. I really, really like that. I just have to stop sharing that, and then I'm going to come back. Oops. Uh-oh, did I lose you guys? Okay, there I am back. I'm never very good at that. Oceana, that's so beautiful. Can you hear me, Oceana?
I can. I just had to unmute my mic.
Okay, sorry. Oh, you found the mute. Okay.
I
So,
did.
Oceana, I'm going to turn it over to you. Now, Patricia was supposed to be asking these questions, but we know we lost her, so I'm going to be doing the setup. So you have to let me refer to my notes. Don't anybody hold that against me. So we always want to know, well, we ask, before we start having our presenter present, 3 things about them. So we're going to tell you 3 things about Oceana, and you get to listen to her presentation. And after the presentation, we invite you to guess which one of these points about Oceana are not true. So the first one is Oceana legally changed her name to Oceana. At a winter formal in high school, she kissed Christian Slater, or she met Louise Hay. So you have to tell me which one of those is not true. To set up what you need to know about Oceana a little bit more is she's written over 100 blogs, and I've gone through and read some of her blogs, and they're all really moving. And I noticed that she writes about a variety of different things, and she'll probably talk to you a bit about that, so I don't want to say too much. But blogging is an excellent way to gather a following when you're a writer or speaker, and it's a great way to get your message to the world. So I hope you really pay close attention to everything she has to say. And Oceana, I'm switching the presentation over to you.
Okay, I don't know if everybody can hear me. I can't see anything in the conversation part, so I'm just going to go and trust that somebody will tell me whether or not I can't be heard.
I'm here, Oceana. You can hear me and I can hear you. You're fine.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Oceana, and I am apparently a blogging expert, according to Joyce. I don't own that yet. I started writing because I had to. So tonight, actually, I'm going to talk to you about using writing as your voice. And that's really how I started writing. I grew up in a home where we were taught that children should be seen, not heard. And as a result of that, there were lots of things that needed to be vocalized that I did not have an opportunity to do. It was about 3rd grade that I got my very first journal, and so I started writing in my journal. You know, all the things that little girls write in their journal. My sister is a dork, that kind of stuff. In 4th grade, I experienced a terrible violation with my journal. I had a so-called friend steal it and read it out to my 4th grade class, which was extremely humiliating. After, I'm not going to say coming to terms with that, because that really wasn't what happened. I stopped writing. I stopped communicating with people on a whole because I was so embarrassed by what I had written in my journal and what had been shared with the entire class. But I still had something I needed to say. I still had words that I needed to vocalize, and I needed to have an outlet to do that. So I started sneaking my journal writing. And what I mean by that is I would write a journal entry on a piece of paper, and then I would throw it in the garbage, get rid of it, destroy it. Then there was no evidence. Nobody could steal it, nobody could read it, and I would never be embarrassed by it. That didn't work for me either, because I'm the kind of person that likes to go back and reflect. So I then started keeping several journals, and I would write a date and I would put my journal entry in it, and then I would find a new book and I'd write the date and I'd put an entry into it. And at one time I had 15 journals going at one time, but not any journal was in any kind of sequence, and so the story didn't make sense. And I did it in letter form instead of Dear Diary form. I tried to make it look like something other than what it was, but really what it was me using my voice. I'm going to refer back to my notes for a quick second.
That's okay.
When I was 16, I got pregnant, and that brought up a whole different amount of emotions. And I got the honor of attending a course that was meant for single parents. And during that course, I met a man who had recently become a widow, and his wife was an adamant journal writer as well. And he shared with the class something that his wife had written in the front of one of her journals. And I actually asked if I could write it down because it was so powerful to me, and it gave me such permission. And what she had written was, "These are my personal thoughts and feelings in the moment that I write them. They are not a reflection of you, and they are not how I feel about you. It does not mean I love you less. If you can't handle what I write, then you need to stop reading." All of a sudden, I was totally free. I could write whatever I needed to write because she was right. It wasn't anybody else's business. They were my thoughts, my feelings in that moment. They were not a reflection of how I really felt about someone. It was a reflection of the emotions that I was feeling. It was extremely powerful for me. That day I vowed that I would no longer keep 15, 16 journals at a time. I kept one. And in that journal, I wrote every day. I wrote an accounting of what happened in the day, my thoughts, my feelings, my gratitudes, my angers, my upsets, you name it, it was in that book. And it was totally freeing for me. But I also came to a point where I knew I had to learn to start speaking my voice as well. Because I had a message to get out, and it was a powerful message. It was a message about healing. And as much as it's great to write about it, I also had to be able to speak about it. So I took some classes about public speaking. I thought, there's the answer. That'll teach me everything I need to know. Not so much. What it did, though, was teach me to open my mouth. What I had to learn afterwards was how to not be aggressive in what the message was that I was giving to the world. That it was okay if somebody didn't agree with what I had to say. It was okay if somebody didn't like what I had to say. The only thing I had to be concerned about was that it was my truth, that I could stand by it. Sorry.
Nothing to apologize for.
I took notes.
Yeah, no, I'm making notes as you're talking because you're saying some really wonderful things, Oceana. I'm really appreciating it.
In 2007, I started on an amazing spiritual journey for myself. It was all about getting to the core of who I am, about finding my purpose and sharing it with the world. That brought up a lot of subject matters for me to write about. It was time for me to start processing my own personal healing through my writing. Because again, I was at a spot in my life where I couldn't find the words to voice what I needed to heal. But I could always find my voice every time my pen hit that piece of paper. I found it. And sometimes I would start it off and it would make no sense to me, but by the time I was done the writing, I had processed what I needed to process in that moment. So writing really became about processing for me. It became about expression and processing and understanding what was happening for me on my journey at that time. Now to the blog. So I went to a course in 2009, and it was at this course that I discovered what my purpose in this world is. I am meant to help women heal in this world, to help them heal their past traumas and teach them how beautiful that they really, really are, so that they can go out and shine their light into this world. I walked out of that conference knowing I was meant to be coaching. How do you get out there? So I jumped the gun, so to speak, started my own website, and as part of it, I started blogging. I started taking my personal journey and sharing it online.
Wow.
I won't kid you, some of those conversations or writings are extremely personal. They are what I considered it as exposing my raw being online, because I wanted the message to come across that if I can do this, anyone can do this. There is no shame in what we've done in our lives. It's just stuff. It's the past. It does not define who you are in the moment. It's just stuff that happened. And if I wasn't willing to be raw and vulnerable with my clients, how could I expect them to be raw and vulnerable with me? So I started blogging, and it was going along quite well. I apparently needed some help with some editing, according to some of my readers, and I appreciated that. I don't necessarily edit, though. I just write. I put my pen to the paper, or in this case, my fingers to the keyboard, and I just go, and I allow the emotion to flow through me. And sometimes I'm so excited by the message, I just post it and don't even think to reread it. I'm learning not to do that so much anymore. I'm now going back and making sure that what I write actually makes sense. So I guess this course is good for that.
Everything you write makes sense, Oceana.
I appreciate it, because sometimes it doesn't make sense when it's coming out. It really doesn't.
Makes sense.
I had a regular reader send me a private message on my website thanking me for the blogs that I had posted to date, and had shared with me that they came back to my website regularly because they wanted to see what else I was going to be saying. And so I challenged myself to honor this reader with a new blog every week. Wow. So I wrote 52 blogs in 1 year. I have to tell you, that's a lot of writing. It's a lot of processing, because again, I was using it for my voice and to help process my own journey. There were weeks that I didn't have much inspiration, so to speak. I was, the well had gone dry. And so I'd found some tips on how to continue writing when I'm in my creative funk. And I'd like to share those with you now. The first thing that I found that works for a creative funk is declutter. Get into your space, clear it out. Clear out your closets, clear out your cupboards, clear out your drawers, just get cleaning. It is amazing how the moment we clear our space, our minds clear up. And suddenly there's room for all this creative energy to start flowing through. Another one of my tricks was to take a break. Just put down the pen, close the computer, turn on the TV, and vacate my mind for a while. Just stepping away from what I was trying to focus on so deeply allowed for me to relax and allowed for that creative energy to come back to me again. The probably most important one was I had to get outside. Get into nature, get moving, get dancing around, listening to music, just moving my body. And it didn't matter if it was for 30 seconds or if it was for an hour and a half. That essence of moving just cleared up any of that stagnant energy I had flowing, or lack of flowing, I guess. So those would be the things that if you're in a creative funk, I recommend. Get out into nature, get moving, clear your space, and allow yourself to take a break. there's no deadline. And even if there is a deadline, 10 minutes of just emptying your mind is all it takes to get you back on track.
Wow.
The other, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's excellent. I've just got 1,000 questions I want to ask you, so keep going.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to say is there's lots of things that you can use writing to voice, especially if somebody is deceased or if somebody is no longer available to receive your communication. Writing is an excellent way to get across what it is you need to say. The person doesn't actually need to physically read it, hear it, or see it. You just need to get it out of you in order to move on from whatever is going on. If you're really angry with somebody, writing it down, using all the curse words you can think of and saying all the nasty things you can think of, just get it out of you. And then go back and start writing it again. And then write it again until finally you are clear on what it is that has made you angry and what has hurt you, so that when you go to communicate with that person, you can come from it from a place of understanding of what the underlying feelings are. Because if you go at it angry, nobody's listening. And you're not open to hear what they have to say, they're not open to hearing what you have to say. So it's about getting yourself clear on what you need to voice so that you can.
Perfect.
And don't let the words get in the way. That's the biggest thing. Don't let the words get in the way. They're just words. Let your emotion come through. Let your feelings come through. And finally, I've been asked, why do I write? Well, I write because I have to. I can't not write. Even when I'm frustrated or excited or happy, I'm writing poems, I'm writing music, I'm writing on my blog, I'm writing in my journals. I have to write. I absolutely have to. So that's me. That's how I learned to voice, how I learned to speak my truth was through a pen and piece of paper. And I'm forever grateful for that.
It's wonderful. I want to applaud you. I'm sitting here feeling like I want to clap. So that was excellent. I know Patricia's going to have 1,000 things she wants to say, because I heard you saying a lot of things that I know are dear to her heart. So I'm going to give her a chance to go first, because I've been yapping a lot, and I'm sure people would rather hear from her. So Oceana, Patricia, you want to unmute your mic and ask Oceana some questions?
Is my mic muted?
Apparently not. Ready to go.
Hey, Oceana, that was fabulous. I loved it, and I have one comment, and that is, you're a writer.
Thank you, Patricia.
And your passion really comes through, and I loved everything that you said, and like Joyce said, you know, it's you connecting to your heart. And getting your message out, and how important that is, which Joy and I teach that, and we totally believe that. And words are healing also. They can be hurtful, you know, when they're not used in the proper way, but they're super healing for us when we jot them down and take them out of our system.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I loved what you said to Oceana about when to use it to process your emotions, and to just like write whatever you want and don't care about the grammar, don't care about the words, don't care about the swearing. It's just for you.
Exactly.
100% for you. And it's sometimes when we're in the middle of that, we don't really understanding that we're really cleansing, right? I mean, you're the coach. You know better than me.
Writing for me is... it's almost better than tears, actually.
Oh.
As cleansing as tears are, writing is actually better for me than tears are, because there's more truth that comes through for that. It is extremely cleansing.
Yeah, and don't mail it.
Yeah, don't mail it.
Never mail anything when you're angry, because sure enough, you'll wake up tomorrow morning kicking your butt. Your own butt.
Oh, yes, very much so.
And I liked your get out in nature when you get writer's block. And I liked your advice to take a break, because I do a lot of writing every day. And sometimes I'll start to look at a page and I'll go, huh? And then I know, go for a break, because I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm just stuck. I need to like move away. And I really, I think you and I have had this conversation, but I really believe, I'm very spiritual, and I really believe that we write in unison with others. that, are unseen. And sometimes when I go outside, when I'm stuck with, trying to figure out how to write something, I'll go outside and I just turn it up and I go, okay, someone tell me what to write. I don't know who you are, but help me. And then all of a sudden I know what to write. Does that ever happen for you, or am I just spooky?
Not at all. I actually have some pieces that I've written that when I've looked back and read them over, I'm like, I don't know who wrote that, but damn, that was good.
I know.
That's where the editing comes in.
Yeah.
That's why I tell Patricia, this is brilliant, and I'm not bragging because I don't think anybody writes alone. And she goes, uh-huh, and rolls her eyes at me. Okay, so we need to find out what's true and not true. I asked the questions, Patricia, when you were getting your camera working. So the choices were, and I got to look at the comments. Anybody looking at the comments? Let's go to chat here and see if people are guessing. Oh, Shannon, we're hearing great talk. Oceana said, Shannon said, okay, Shannon's guessing that kissing Christian Slater's not true. Jerry and Margaret just said hello. They didn't do any guessing. So, Patricia, which one do you think's not true?
Well, that's cheating because I have the piece of paper in front of me.
Yeah, okay, so she didn't meet Louise Hay. That's not true. I want to hear about this kiss with Christian.
Yeah, what was that about?
Christian Slater's grandparents live in Joe Rich in Kelowna, and he grew up with a kid that I went to high school with. And he actually came to our Christmas formal, and we had the mistletoe over our heads, and so we did a little kiss.
Oh, nice. I love it. I love it. Okay, Oceana, is there anything you'd like to say in closing? No. Maybe I can get you to do me a favor to type your, not right now, but when you're off in the chat, type in your email. I'm not your website address.
I certainly will.
Yeah, so people know how to get a hold of you. And Patricia, I'm just going to ask Oceana, if she has, I was reading Shannon's name, so now I'll be saying Shannon. Oceana, if she has anything else to say, but is there a question you want to ask before she leaves us with a closing comment?
No, I think it's great, and I've also been to your website, Oceana, and I love it. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
It's very peaceful and very inviting.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing two really great things. One, you're writing and sharing your message, and two, you're helping women. Like, that's excellent. And we've been giving you kudos for your writing, but you're a great speaker too. Very natural on camera.
Very clear and from the heart, which is what I love. And Catherine says that you didn't change your name, but I guess you did change your name.
I did change my name in 2008.
Yeah.
Very Rivers.
Joyce had asked that I share that little bit of a story. I had touched on the fact that I went through a spiritual journey, personal journey, starting in 2007, and as a part of that, I decided to honor myself in calling myself what it was that I have known since I was 5 years old I was meant to be called. I've known since I was 5 that my name was Ocean, and I figured, if I ever came up with a last name, I was going to do it. And so New Year's Eve, 2008, I woke up, went to my friend, shaking her, going, I know my name! So May of 2008, I legally changed my name to Oceana Rivers.
I love it. I just love it.
It's beautiful, and it flows.
It flows. Pun.
Fun. Okay, so somebody is who is that? Shannon. Shannon is asking what your website is, and actually, I'm just going to say it out loud, or just say it out loud because it's easy to remember.
Yes.
So it's
Oh, sorry, Patricia,
no,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm going to type it in. You say it.
Okay, it's www.explorewithin.ca.
Yeah, Shannon's going to want to connect with you. You two should be best buddies. You guys have a lot of things in common in terms of the healing and helping and the kind of work you're doing. So, yeah, do team up.
Excellent.
Yeah, great contact those two for you two. Okay, Oceana, do you have anything you want to leave us as a parting wisdom?
Right.
Right?
Just
okay. Okay, I love it. Thank you for being on the webinar. And I'm just going to go back to me presenting.
Just a quick question. I need to log out and log back in so I can go into the chat, correct?
I don't think so. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Patricia typed it in for you in the chat, and you might be able to just continue on listening. I don't think you have to log out, but
Okay.
because I can type in the chat. Can you see the chat, Oceana?
I cannot see the chat.
Oh yeah, then you might have to. But don't worry about the chat. Just stay with us in case you want to come back on.
Okay, sounds good.
Because we can, we can answer your questions. Patricia will let you know if they're asking anything fun.
Okay, we have a good question here from Jerry and Margit.
Margaret.
Margaret,
Yeah.
and it is, how do you get followers or readers to a blog?
Oh, there you
Social
go.
media.
That's a good question.
I use Facebook mostly, and I have certain people that are, I'll call them my devout followers, and when I post that I've got a new blog app, they share that link. So I've just basically used social media to do it. I have learned that if you have catchy titles, especially if there's any kind of sex comment in the title, Google picks it up really quickly and people are drawn to it that way. I've actually met some interesting people because of that.
So what sex title Google will promote you?
Well, I have a blog that's called FWB with NSA. So Friends with Benefit, No Strings Attached. And it's a blog on the fact that I don't believe that that's a possibility. And because of the type of title it is, it actually has drawn quite a few readers into it. And it's probably my most read blog in the end.
You didn't give me that one.
It's on there.
I have to look it up.
It's all about feminine and masculine energy and how we differ.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I like that.
Very cool. And that's great, Oceana. And I just want to say that I know you can't see the chat, but Joy, if you look at the chat, we've got Arnold and Roz went on tonight.
I know. It's like magic.
Yeah, and Catherine. And so Arnold and Catherine have a story in each one of the three books, like the first three books, and Roswin has 3 for 3, and Roswin has a story in 2, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, they're great people and great writers.
Yes, they are. They all are. Okay, Oceana, I'm going to move on to Tom Schimmer. Now, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see the video, but I think you can because Marla came last week. But if not, you can see it later. I can send you the link. But Tom is kind of, Tricia, you did this interview.
I did.
I'm going to put you up on the screen. There you are. You're up on the screen for everybody to see you. And how would you describe Tom? He's such a gentle soul, right?
He's a wonderful man, very caring. I would say that he's connected. He's is spiritual, and he really has the interest of his students. He used to be a former teacher and even a vice principal at one point, and now is an international speaker. And he wrote a book, and now I don't know off the top of my head exactly what the name of the book is, but it's basically changing how we grade and assess children or kids so that they have better self-confidence and really to build them up. So I think that instead of judging them. So Tom, and not only that, but he's actually a very nice looking man. Can I say that? I am married. Yeah, I'm married. I am married, but he's a nice looking guy.
Blog about it. Yeah.
Maybe that'll get us on Google. And anyway, and it's a nice interview. You can see his personality coming through, and basically, you normally hear about people changing their jobs or leaving their jobs because they were unhappy. In his case, it was different. He was actually really happy with what he was doing, but he heeded to his call, his purpose in life. So he went and changed his whole life, and you will hear about it in the interview.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes long. See it through to the end and really pay attention. Patricia knows how to ask questions. She's an excellent interviewer, and she draws a lot of information out of Tom. And what goes hand in hand with writing, and you're going to hear Patricia and I say this all the time because it's two of our favorite loves. Mine's writing, Patricia's is speaking and teaching speaking, is that writing and speaking go hand in hand. So Tom, just a few years ago, was doing one job, and now he's traveling around the world and an internationally sought-after speaker. Enjoy his video. Hang on his words. We'll see you in a minute.
We're back.
We're back. So I'm just going to check the chat, Patricia, and see if anybody's got any questions. Nope, don't see any questions. So that was a wonderful presentation. Patricia and I both just rewatched it again the other day. Patricia and I have a funny story to tell them. You want to tell them about the khaki pants?
Well, yes, actually, the interview that you saw was the second interview that we did with Tom, because the first interview we did, first of all, we weren't sitting in the chairs, we were standing up, and Tom walked in, and he was extremely well dressed with a beautiful shirt and khaki pants, which just happened to be the same color as the curtains behind us. And anyway, everything was fine, and we had this great interview, and you know, it went really well. And then we watched the replay, and in the replay there was only the top half of Tom showing, because the bottom half with his khaki pants blended into our curtains and disappeared.
It was pretty funny.
So we had to ask him to come back and redo the interview. Anyway, I think we have that interview. We have that video somewhere, Joy.
Yeah, we'll have to do it when it's celebrating Tom sometime. We'll show that interview just for fun. Okay, I'm going to switch back to me, Patricia. Thank you for your help. I just want to tell everybody what's happening next week.
Okay.
And thank you. Okay, you're back to me. Oceana, I just wanted to make a comment, too, that I was thinking about and when we were watching the movie. And that was that you said that people reblog your blog. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. No, they post that I shared a blog. So when I post it on Facebook,
Yeah.
you can share that I've posted the blog, and it gives the link to it.
So people are sharing your blog posts because they like it, so they share it with everybody, so then their followers see it.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. That's so smart. Okay, so again, Oceana, thank you for being with us. And next week we have Joseph Aquilino is back, and he's going to be presenting on Kalmar therapy, which I've now studied, and I'm editing Joseph's story, so I'm really better versed on it. And it's an excellent thing to know about. Totally, totally excellent, especially if you know anybody that's is a chronic pain sufferer. So be here when Joseph talks about that. Great mission he's on there. There are something like 76 million Americans, because I didn't get the Canadian stats, suffering from chronic pain. So, and so many things on the internet of people having success with this. So I'm really excited to hear what Joseph is going to tell us some more details next week. And Taslim was supposed to be with us this week, Taslim Jaffer, who we've got a video from her that Patricia did, and it's about being authentic. And I think that builds a lot on what Oceana was saying today about finding your voice, and then kind of steps it into being, you know, staying authentic. So I think that's kind of your message too, Oceana. So really, and Taslim will be with us. She's going to be online, and the reason we didn't show it today was that she couldn't be online with us tonight. So we'll do it next week. So that's it. If you have any questions, be sure to email us, phone us. You know, we want to be in contact with you. And love and light. See you next week.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Nice.